in the game. Yeah. Yeah, the sound effects are completely untuned right now. Uh, all right. So I thought today, since it's Saturday, it'd be nice to not work on compiler stuff for once, but to work on game stuff. Because if you don't build anything with your compiler, what's it for? And there's a set of tasks that I've been meaning to do for a while. It's enough for a couple days at least. Um, and I noticed some new stuff just now. So the first thing I wanted to do, if you saw last night's stream, you saw that I changed the way mirrors work to not use these hard-coded uh, variables about what direction they point. Um, and I want to do that for these beams. Like for this beam, it has this direction enum, and like I don't want to have to manually change it like I'm doing here. I want to just be able to like rotate it and have it go. However, you'll notice the rotation here is funny, which I didn't realize was broken now. So we have this thing where gameplay objects are supposed to snap to cardinal directions, like 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and so forth when you let go of the rotation gadget. And it's snapping, but it's not snapping to the cardinal directions usually. And I think it's confused between degrees and radians in the snapping or something, right? So that's going to be the first thing that I fix. And then we'll worry about this other stuff I was talking about. Did I briefly go over my renderer? No, because we're on topic. We're building game stuff and editor stuff. Also, there's nothing interesting about this renderer. Honestly, it's not a final renderer, so it's very loose and it just does stuff. Do I even need other axes? Yes, of course. Yes. For this scene, no, because there's nothing decorative in the scene. But once you start putting, uh, you know, decorative objects in, it really matters. Okay. Um, let's go in the editor for a second. There's a thing called snap rotation, right? So if we finish rotating, we snap rotation on, guys. And, okay, we figure out the forward vector. We take the atan2 of that, which should give us a thing in radians, and we convert that to degrees. And then well, this looks right to me offhand. I mean, obviously it's not. Like, we're just, as the output, we're not even getting. Of course, actually, set from axis and. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see if today we're able to debug. Had a problem with that the other day. Yeah, it just. I don't know what happened. Something broke in our integration, and you just can't frickin' debug anything anymore. That's very bad. I mean, you can't see the source code. You can debug the assembly code, but I don't want to do that right now. All right. Pac-Man ghost icon. Yeah, that's just an editor icon. That's not a gameplay thing. All right, well, since I can't use Visual Studio today to debug, I'm just going to print out some values. All right. So that was our vector. Y is almost -1. Theta 314. That is not remotely correct. Well, all right. All right, radians -1.5, that's right. Theta initially -89, that's right. 315. $360. We should be at 360 minus 89, which is 270. Okay, what the fuck is this round to nearest thing? Oh, wait. I don't understand why that would cause this problem. When I drag over this window, we're going to have to fix that. See that? I drag over the window and it fails. We're getting a whole big list of stuff. My goal is that by a certain time that I will not reveal, this editor is going to be in full shape that we can just crank ahead. Okay, so yeah, pretty much y -1. Radians 1 point, yeah, close enough. -74, 285. Okay. Now it's not, okay, now we're not snapping at all. Is fmod broken? Let's ignore the round to nearest. We just want to snap. So we're going to rotate to there. It didn't. Okay, fmod is clearly broken, but then I'm doing theta minus that. Oh. Let's say theta wrapped, right? And then fmod ain't doing what I thought it would. I might have the signature of it wrong in math. Someone might have broken that. Or someone is maybe me or maybe someone else. Well, print 2.0 fmod 5.0 is maybe I broke something about calling foreign math. I didn't want to work on compiler stuff today, but sometimes you have to. Okay, this is right. What the hell? I bet that's what it is. No. All right. Why is fmod returning 0? Am I misunderstanding how this function works? Did it suddenly break in the new Visual Studio? Like what? Did they change fmod in Visual Studio 2017? Like what the hell is going on? Do I have to write my own fmod? Does anyone know anything about this? Why is 5 fmod 3 0? Doesn't that invalidate the whole point of the function? Okay, let me make sure that this isn't a... This could be a compiler problem. Like I could be passing arguments incorrectly somehow. Although I'm not sure that I am because 3 fmod 5 was 3. So it has both arguments. But I'm going to go into C++ so that we're not sure, so that we're sure this isn't... I'm going to go into the main of the compiler. Where the hell is it? All right, here we go. Print f 5 fmod 3 is %f, comma fmod 5 3, and we're going to do float fmod and double fmod. And both of those will get converted up to double because that's the way printf is. All right. All right, compile. Okay, that's the right answer. So either we're calling fmod incorrectly, which wouldn't totally shock me, or we're getting a different fmod, which wouldn't totally shock me either. Yeah, maybe to work on the game, I'll do the Name Guy 101 suggested replacement of fmod. And then just figure out what the hell's going on with fmod on the to-do list. my guess at the most likely cause is we've got the calling convention wrong in some way that didn't matter before, but that does matter now. All right, so that is probably correct. And if I rotate it further, yeah, see, it snapped it to the right direction. So that was a fun one. So now let's round to nearest again. Boop. Boop. This is how it's supposed to behave. All right. Now I get to write on my list y is x or f mod broken, question mark. And the answer is probably we're not calling it right. I almost guarantee that's the answer. Although, well, let's see if that's a backend problem. So right now, we're using the x64 backend. Right, so if I go back to fmod instead of my fmod, it'll be broken, right? Broken, broken, broken. All right, great. Now, if I go to the LLVM backend, probably it'll work, right? And that helps me localize where the problem is. Oh, well, no. No, because the LLVM backend had a crash. Maybe it's been fixed. All right, it's been fixed. Let's try it now. Okay, that works. So it's in the x64 backend, which really helps narrow it down. And then I'll run it in bytecode just to make sure it works, but I'm pretty sure it works. So go into main here and print 5 fmod 3 is, that should work. 5 fmod 3 is 2. All right, so it's only the x64 backend. Now the scary thing about that, I'm not going to use x64 today then, because the scary thing about that is if fmod doesn't work, I don't know who else doesn't work, right? Like lots of anything in math or anything that takes float arguments is likely not to work until I fix that. And it's funny that I didn't see that problem until now, so that's interesting. So that is on the bug list, but we're not going to fix it now. We are going to do some game functionality. Any questions about what happened there? Is someone else responsible for the LLVM backend? Josh is doing most of the work on it, right? So what happened was he went in and fixed that bug last night or this morning or sometime, which is great. It's good to have working stuff. The calling convention is wrong. What does that mean? What that means is So when you're outputting machine code, you would think, let me make sure my camera's in a good spot. That's a little bit. So, you know, your model in your head of a language like C is like there's a stack, and when you call a procedure, you push things on the stack, right? That's not really true, because for programs to run fast, there's all sorts of things that happen, and those are called calling conventions, and they're about, well, you know, for the first 2 or 3 arguments, uh, let's just put them in certain registers and not on the stack, and that way people won't have to pull them from the stack in order to run their code. They're just right there, right? So every architecture has a convention of which registers are used to pass the initial number of arguments, and then if there's a lot of arguments, then you go to the stack, right? Now, it's made more complicated by the fact that on a CPU like this, there's different registers for floating point and integer. So, and in the old days, there was this like FPU coprocessor floating point stack thing. Nobody uses that anymore. So you use like the SIMD floating point registers. Anyway, it's not as straightforward as you would think to pass arguments to a procedure. So we just got something wrong there, and it's really not a surprise, actually. But I don't know exactly what it is, because we said 3f mod 5 was 3, so it got the 3 correctly. And 5f mod 3 was 0, but it got the 5 correctly. And it couldn't be that the second argument was 0, because that would have made the first thing not work. I don't know. I don't have a model in my head for what the arguments ended up being. So, oh, and there's also a thing where some values, like I think float values, are pushed both into integer registers and float registers, and people are free to use either one. Like, I don't exactly understand what's going on there, but we probably just have some minor detail wrong there. Do I think the hardware design is also trash these days, or is it mainly down to software? I don't know anything about hardware. I have literally almost zero knowledge of hardware, so I can't comment. Did I actually run fmod in bytecode? Didn't I just put it in main and ran it? Oh, that's a good point. That's how awake I am. Thank you. Yes, I did just put it into main. Let's put it down here. Run. Print 5f mod 3 is. All right. Oh, that's in CPP. That's not going to work. You can't do that in C++. There we go. All right. So these are the compiler, and the one without the colon is this, and that worked. So it's working from bytecode. Thanks for catching that. Thanks for catching that. All right. What is this? We don't need this test down here anymore. Okay. Now, let's talk about what we're doing here. I'm going to take that out of the compiler. Oh, I did. Rebuild. It's just seeing those fmods there is driving me nuts. All right. Okay, great. Fmod 3, 5 was 2. No, fmod 5, 3 was 2. Right? If I go here It's 5 comma 3, not 3 comma 5. Yeah. All right. There is no case in which the right answer to that is 0 for either order of arguments. Okay. Let's talk about something. So yesterday we had this thing where we could rotate the mirrors arbitrarily, and it would use their orientation, which is a quaternion, to determine what directions they point in. So the straightforward thing would be to do the same thing for this, so that when I rotate this guy, then this value here would not, like, we wouldn't use this, maybe. We would instead use just a direction vector. Maybe that's the right thing to do. Whoops. Whoops. Maybe that's the right thing to do. I'm not sure, because I'm not sure who uses this beam data struct. And, well, so the direct analogy to the mirror thing would just be to not have this at all, right? And just compute this direction when we need it based on the orientation. But if this is a commonly used data structure, then that's confusing. So maybe what we do is we compute this value and poke it into the data structure every frame. I'm not actually sure what's the right answer. So I want to see who uses beam data. You have one job. All you people are fired. All you people are fired. Why would I use your program for anything but file content search when Windows already does this part of just telling you what the files are? I will write my own search software at some point because I'm so annoyed at everybody. I need snacks today. We don't have enough snacks in the apartment. So I'm gonna have to go on a snack run at some point. All right. Well, yeah, so let's look. So entities is going to tell us who uses beam data. So this is used when bouncing beams off a mirror, right? And that gets updated every frame. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to update this guy's beam data to be the right direction. So how did we... We said get mirror vectors, and then someone converted that. I don't remember who. Get mirror. Maybe we didn't ever convert that. Oh yeah, vector to direction. Oh, right, because we already had vector to direction. All right, so let me illustrate the problem though, right? Just so you guys know. So if I rotate this thing upward, right, it still says west, even though it's pointing north, right? So I'm going to save this. I'm going to exit. I'm going to reload the level. And it's pointing north, but it's still shooting a beam west. All right. So that's what we're going to fix. Like I can fix that by going north here, right? And then I reload, and now it points north. But that's annoying and error prone. And if you do like a mass copy paste, or you do like, hey, we're going to reorient the level, or maybe I had something that rotated this beam dynamically in the game, you just want this to take care of itself in order to be robust. So I'm going to leave it wrong. So it's wrong right now, and we're going to make it right, because that's what we do here. We make things right. Any questions about that? I don't want a command line search program. I want a windowed search program. I just don't want a command line search. All right. So where do we do the update? We have this like per frame or post. Let me just search for update. Wow, that's a lot of post. Like if this would just show me the lines that it's finding here, and I could scroll really fast. All right. All right. This does go a lot faster on this computer, though. I think my SSD on the other computer was really getting slow. Post, move, reevaluate. Here we go. So anytime something moves, because it's a grid-based game, you know, things move by a square, and we redo all this stuff. So before I evaluate, evaluate lights. That's what it is. Okay. So first we say the mirrors aren't powered, and then we like cast out one beam. Okay. So here we're saying get direction vector of beam dot direction, right? But we're gonna, all right. We're gonna do it the other way. We're gonna say get beam vector of oh, this is after, okay. For each of these, okay. So we're returning a vector 3, and I don't actually know, like modelers tend to be a little bit inconsistent. Yeah, minus x is forward for some, oh wait, maybe not. Now I guess x is forward. So this is broken right now. These should point along the object, and they don't. Like I don't have the ability to, no sticky keys. Oh my God, I can't believe this is still in Windows.
Always scan this section.
Oh my God. Okay. All right, new computer blues. All right, so always scan this section. So when theta is 0, it's pointing to the right, which means that it's the x-axis is forward, so that's fine. It's not like the mirror. The mirror is a weird case because it's pointed diagonally. So we're going to just hard align that, and we're going to make hard align scoped out here. Okay. Always scan this section. So we can get the beam vector. So for these guys, we want to say get beam vector of this guy, and then it dot beam dot direction is vector to direction. For now. Later, this might be a vector 3 if we do up and down. Declared identifier mirror. Well, that's because there's no mirror. And there's no B. All right. Hey, it's pointing to the right, or the left. And if I go like this and save, hey, and if I go like this, hey, that's great. That's great. We have one with a, let's do something funky. We'll load this. We'll get this mirror. We'll paste it here. We'll rotate this. Let's make sure those work together, shall we? Hey, all right. Why can't he go through there, though? That's weird. It's a loud sound effect. Sorry. Is there something? Oh, there's no watt. See. All right. Still doesn't work. Why can he go there? Okay, why didn't that work? Didn't we just spend yesterday making ocean and it work correctly? Why do heck? All right, we'll look into that later. Ocean init on wizard level. Well, let's see if we change the ocean squares manually. If that'll fix it. Yes. All right. Okay. So all right. Okay. We need to do a sound pass on this. On this game. I see people had fun when sticky keys came up. That's good. Okay. I can cross that off the list. Okay, here's another thing I want to do. In this game, when you move around, right, it's a grid-based game, so you have like a physical position that corresponds to what square you're in. So this stone, one south of me, is, it has coordinates that are one less in integer, right? But there's also like a visual position, which is just controlling the smooth interpolation of me from square to square, right? And that visual position, well, it's different, right? The physical position controls the gameplay. So for gameplay purposes, you instantaneously teleport around at all times. Maybe that shouldn't be how it is, but it is how it is. I'm not sure how to make it better. And oh, you know what? For ocean and knit, we're ignoring things that aren't inanimates, but we have to include walls. We'll do that. We'll do that next. I don't want to derail. This is a wall entity, not an inanimate entity. All right. So that's all fine. Now, when I grab an entity and I move it around, so I can like use the arrow keys, for example. See how I'm moving it around, and the y coordinate is changing, and now the x coordinate is changing, and so forth. That's all good. If I use this drag widget, those will all update. See, they're like float while I'm dragging it around, and then it'll snap. So that's all good. The one thing that doesn't work right now is the other direction. So here's the thing. If I say 3, so you notice the widget moved because it knows where the entity is, but the entity's visual position didn't get updated. So the physical position updated, but the visual one didn't. So boop. See, if I just barely hairline drag it, I'll put like z equals 5. It's way up there. If I just like, right? So I need to put something in so that it knows that when I edit these particular fields, that the visual position should update. And I'm not sure how, like there's a spectrum of ways to handle it. One way is that I just go in and hack it. And there's varying degrees of like more serious abstraction that you can do. So I'm not sure. But that's going to be the next thing. Because you want to be able to type positions in. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. Oh, the top right corner of the editor where the coordinates is obscured by the face cam. I'm sorry about that. Let's move it. Let's move it to the bottom for a while. All right. So anyway, to re-illustrate, you can see the coordinates changing. You probably can see a little bit of that, but so I'm moving this around with the keyboard. You can see them changing. I'm moving it around with the mouse. You can see them changing, and then it snaps. Right? But if I type it in, the widget knows where it is, but its visual position does not update. So we need to do that. Maybe you just snap to position every frame. Well, you don't want to snap to position every frame. I could copy the visual position from the source position every frame. That might be a little bit annoying, especially if there's a lot of entities. I could do that for everything in the selection every frame. But let's try to be more serious about it, because you do generally want hooks on these things. Like, I don't know, I changed the mount parent ID so certain assumptions about the structure of entities are invalid and we need to recompute something. Like that's generally a thing. Wow, my cursor, the colors on this monitor are not that great. The yellow that the cursor is going to is kind of washed out, but that doesn't matter. We're going to have a higher quality programming monitor soon. Amazon failed to deliver it yesterday like they said they would. It's now supposed to come Tuesday or something. What a disaster. All right. All right. All right, yo. Amazon's usually really good about delivery. It's just this time it didn't pull through. Let me delete that. There's too many mirrors in this level. All right. Now, well, let's kind of go look at that stuff. It's been forever since I looked at this. So this is we draw things here. We draw things. So we have a metadata item expandable. Yeah. So if it's a struct, okay, wait, what does do member slot do? So we draw an expandable, and then we do member slot. I don't understand. That seems like two things. Oh, that's in case it's got... Okay. I think that does nothing in this case. All right. We definitely should deselect this text widget if we do stuff up here, but whatever. See, like we're keeping this state like if we close and open this. All right. Well, let's look at metadata item expandable. In here, we do a thing where we draw the expanded items. Wait. Okay, so this thing expanded item is just which one. So at any time, one thing is expanded. So here, that's expanded, and here, that's expanded. If we ever want to animate these expansions, then maybe that's not right, because you might have one closing while another one opens. But for now, there's only one. So that's what expanded item is. So right now, orientation is expanded item. Here, right? If you press one of these and it's the expanded item, then don't expand it, otherwise expand it, right? And if it's expanded, increase the indent level, which is what adds this little margin over here and pushes these out. So you could have multiple indentations, right? And then we draw expanded items. So that's going to iterate over every member of this struct. And hey, if it's tagged as a color, do this. And then we do member slot. So what I'm going to do, since there's like a color flag, well, so do member slot probably tells us so here, if we hit enter on the text field, that's not true. Oh, from string every time, I see. Okay. We get the pointer, we translate the string and poke the value, we note the change. Well, so I believe in this case the item is still the top level item. Yeah. So the item in this case is still the position or orientation. Like, we don't make metadata items for the subfields. Those are only for the main thing. And then we use this offset to track. If we're editing something inside, we use this byte offset to control that. So if you hit enter, we do all this stuff. And then, okay, so we check flags here. So I'm just going to say else if we'll call it pose variable. Like, pose often means position, orientation, whatever. I think we have a thing called has moved. All right, so let's go to metadata. Pose variable. Okay, so that should compile, but it won't do anything yet because we don't set that flag yet. So it used to be in like the witness code and in the braid code, we had C++ stuff that sets up all this metadata and sets these flags manually, but we don't do that anymore, right? So we have these like version notes, right? So I'm going to add a note here. There we go. Position, whoops, Windows, no. If this is position, metadata item dot position variable. All right, so we've actually solved this in a relatively hacky way. So we're going to go here. No, we're going to go to entity manager. That's where our base entity is. And I hope we parse stuff. Oh, undoable. Where does undoable? Oh, undoable entity data. That's a thing. All right, so this is position. And let's just say in fact, let's print that 10 times just so we know we see it. Position variable, oh, it's called pose variable. It didn't compile. All right. Hey, we got it. Twice. So here, if I go 3, didn't work. But that's because has moved. Has moved, I don't think, is what I want. Right? Where is that declared? Has moved is for the collision system, I think. Oh, it doesn't do anything. All right. So we'll just say all right. So I go here, I type 3. Still doesn't work. Why not? Oh, why don't I look at what the dragging guys do? Well, why don't I do this? Let's make sure that. Oh, not 1.10. That's a floating point number. All right. 3. Didn't get it. Interesting. 3. So our metadata item is position. It is the right one. Flags is 8192, which seems right. Oh, it is adjustable without recreate. Probably, I don't know. Oh, nobody sets adjustable without recreate right now. Okay, that's the problem. I put an if then else and it wasn't the right thing. 3, there we go. There we go. How great is that? Before I forget, I just want to put land under these. All right, whatever. This is good, so I can go here, I can type z is 5, and now it's in the air. I can type 0, 1, right, or 0, 1. So it's flipped. It's the origin of this is on the bottom, so it's like flipped over. Whoops. So that's successful. Any questions about what happened there? Oh, let's delete this stupid prints. Delete the prints in the revolution. Didn't I? Oh. No, I'm not printing it anymore. All right. Maybe the note should be pose instead of position. Yeah, you know, you're right. I should be consistent about terminology. Pose and yeah, you can use quaternions directly if you know what you're doing. All right. I'm going to cross that out. Editor position type in. Wow. Those of you who were watching last night's stream know that I wrote my to-do list out, and many things have been added, but many things have also been crossed off, so this is good. Okay, how about that ocean init on the wizard level not working? Because we just did ocean init, and we want it to be good. Ocean init. So we search for walls, but only, you know, we're just not going to do this. Because we're searching for walls in the square that you would be standing in, but those ground squares were below, right? But they're supposed to be there. We would raycast and hit them with this raycast, I believe. So we're just going to do this. And if the entity type not equal to wall. All right, so we're going to load this. I'm going to mess up the ocean a little bit. Oh, no, we've got some, right? Because, oh, but those are under this. Let's mess it up in various places, right? Like this ocean is so messed up, buddy. All right, ocean init. Boom, great. I won't bother. Well, I will. I'll check in the executable. Why not? Hey, my laptop wants to restart now that I'm using to monitor chat. Thank you, Windows. Cross that off. I want a better pen. This pen does not feel very good. Unfortunately, maybe all the good pens are at the office. I don't know. How about this one? Like, when you're crossing off your to-do list, you want it to feel really good. This one is so old it's dead. All right. What about having a scripting language? I'm not that big of a believer in scripting languages, honestly. The main use for a scripting language, so people used to think, oh, a scripting language will help your programmers have productivity because they can do live reloads. They can sort of not have to think that hard about what they're programming and stuff. And that turns out not to be true. Programmers have more productivity ultimately in a real language than in a scripting language. And all those supposed benefits of scripting languages actually, um, you can have them all in compiled languages anyway. And the drawbacks of scripting languages are terrible. Like they just fall apart at some level of code complexity, and programs just get slow. Like you would think like, oh, gameplay code is simple compared to engine code, so it doesn't matter if it's more slow. But what always happened historically was that we'd be CPU limited by gameplay code. And then it's impossible to make faster without rewriting it all in C++ anyway. So nobody really does that anymore, except the one thing, the modern descendant of the scripting language that's actually used in games is like the Unreal or Unity style, let's plug some boxes and lines together in order to make some game logic happen. And that part does make sense because that's like, oh, designers can make things with this, you know. And that was actually the other use of scripting languages before. But I think designers do better with the boxes and arrows thing than with a text file program, probably. So that is the one thing that has still survived today. And I don't think it's my job to make one of those in this language. Like maybe someone will make one as a library. That's all. Okay. I need better pens. I'm going to write pens on my to-do list. I need pens that feel better when I cross things out. Okay, let's look at this dragging thing that we discovered, because that's annoying. So when I'm here, I've got a thing selected. See, the interactivity mode stops when my cursor is over the panel. And that's kind of cute. Woo! That was unintended, but fine. Wait, what happened there? All right. Let's figure out what's going on with that. And then it'll be lunchtime snack run time for me. So I think we probably used to handle this by graying out the side panels. Maybe that's the right solution. So like when I hit tab, for example, maybe it's not the right solution. Oh, I've got the mouse bug. Look, I'm rotating slightly to the left. Oh, now I'm going to the right. I've got to debug that, except we just verified that I can't break in Visual Studio to debug. So this might be an annoying way to solve it, but I'm going to at least try going into this panels faded out mode. So what is... So we have this editor.keymap. Tab key is toggle free camera. So camera mode, buttons active. We don't want mouse control. All right, so we need to include in here, are we dragging? How do I know? Update manipulation. Grabbing. All right, so, whoa! I got my Boolean condition wrong. All right, here we go. Okay. I guess that's fine. It's a little annoying. Like the fact that it flashes like this when I select things is... That looks shitty. That feels bad. So we're not going to do it this way. We're not Microsoft. We're not going to do it this way. Even if I like animate the fade out, which we'll do eventually. In fact, that would be a fun thing to do today. But even if I animate that fade out, it's still going to flash a little bit, like when you click on things, like to select them, it'll fade a little bit, and that's annoying. So adding a like I could do some kind of detection and say we're only going to fade if you dragged under the windows. That could be interesting. Like if you're grabbing and you go near a widget, because that would be helpful then, right? It's like, oh, I'm dragging this thing under, let's see. Yeah. Of course, then if you select stuff near the windows, it'll blink, but... Oh! We can selectively... We could selectively fade only the panel that you're going under. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. All right. Okay. So we're going to do this. So if grabbing is not equal to grabbing type none, then how do I get my frickin' cursor position? Get editor cursor vector. Ah, that's not in. Let's look at the panels. I think these are in position. They're in pixels. They're in pixels. All right. I don't want to make a new procedure that returns me the cursor position in pixels. Because that's get editor cursor vector. We can just say see this, right? Okay. Okay. Well, what's inside? Well, it's the following. We're just going to copy this line there. And inside is false if, oh wait, inside is true if Cx is less than current mouse x. So that is false. Cx is greater than, wait, no, not current mouse x, panel dot position x. These are all float. Panel dot position x plus panel dot my width, right? And then similarly for y. All right, I don't know what that's going to do. Let's find out. So I've got this thing selected. Ah! Either it didn't. I mean, it might be that this is. Let me see. I'm going to turn this back on for a second. Okay. So I at least want it to print inside here. It's not. It's not. Are my coordinates all whack? Let me see. $15.67. I've just made a basic error of some kind, right? So I believe the panel Y, it's this, right? It's a little bit misleading, but the panel Y is the top, and then it goes down, I think, right? So, nope. What the hell? Okay. Screw it. There we go. It is the Y test. So we're getting in. Okay, let's just do this. So now, okay, I don't know why that's wrong. Anyway, maybe because CY is flipped from what I think. I don't know. Didn't work. Wait, we print inside. That's weird. So there's two problems. Boop. Boop. Why didn't that work? Okay, panel position Y is 913 to 716. What? That's not remotely true. 716? All right. Panel.myHeight. Wrong for entity panel. That's fine. That is fine. So we've got this other problem that even though this part works now, it's still inside whatever. I hope the titles are set. The titles may not be set. I want to make sure it's the right panel. Boop. Inside entity. Yeah, that's what this one is. So we're inside the entity panel, and yet grabbing is not happening. Maybe this happens too late. Well, no, because grabbing is not. I don't know. I don't know. We might not be using the panel's active thing correctly. We might be using something else. Let's look at who looks at No, because that's the only thing that gets set here. All that gets set here is buttons active on the various panels. Somebody might be looking at some other panel's buttons active, but oh God. Look, we're copying it from world panel. That's really old code. Man, some things. Okay, it still doesn't work. So we're updating the entity panel. And we're updating panel. Collapses. Are we moving? That's for if we're moving. Why is that indented all weird? Emacs mode. Okay, that's just moving the panel. And then can see. It was returning true for all the windows at least. What? Okay. If title if title is entity, we won't spam as much that way. So I've got to get rid of the hiding the title bar. Okay. We went to inside and we still think we can see the events. I don't know. I mean, shouldn't that include buttons active? I don't understand. What? Not sure what's happening there, but we'll think about it later. Yeah, I don't think this has anything to do. None of this stuff that I'm doing. There's a thing that happens when I'm programming where, you know, I start doing stuff that I know isn't going to solve the problem, but I do it anyway. I don't know why I do that. Okay. I mean, I'm just going to put this there, even though probably doesn't matter. Part of what's happening is I'm just making the code a little bit more like I expect it to be. So where do we stop grabbing? Do we do that anywhere else? Panel. So we replace blocked. Yeah, so this is probably what's happening, is that active is not correctly well. We do pass buttons active. Let's see if that blocked is what's happening. Wait. I don't know. So the thing is, Casey wrote all this grabbing blocked stuff. I don't know what it's supposed to do, honestly. I don't understand the state machine that he's after here. So, wait, where were we? We were in, I suppose I could read this. Blocked. A synthetic value people can set things to prevent further input on the frame while the key is pressed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's supposed to work. So see, it seems to, if it's blocked, it seems to revert to ungrabbed on the next frame, which is maybe not. Oh, that didn't happen. If I could debug, I would just set a damn data breakpoint on this, but the LLVM debugging doesn't work. Maybe the x64 debugging works? I don't know. I don't know. Is it possible that my height is actually the bottom position and not just the height? No, because that number was way wrong. Oh, maybe. Actually, no. Maybe. That could be the bug. But I'm not worried about that yet. I'm trying to figure out this. I just want to figure out this, and then it's Miller time. So, yeah, this is the problem, is that, like, this is all, this whole state machine was retrofitted from Casey stuff. His mind works differently than my mind on this, I think, and I haven't looked at it at all. So I really, part of what's going on is I'm just figuring out how this currently works and how I want it to work, and then we'll change it probably. So, like what? I just want to set a data breakpoint there. Well, here's what we're going to do. There's only so many places that say grabbing equals. They're in panel. We did that. This is called setting to blocked A. Setting to block B. I don't think we're going to be there. Entity panel. These are all commented. Well, I guess I'll do this. I don't think that's it, but D. E. Okay, and then editor. This is probably what's messing it up. I don't know. Okay. Boop. Setting to block E. Okay. Oh, that was loud. So what's happening? We're inside end manipulation. Why are we calling end manipulation? We don't want to end the manipulation. Okay. Wish I could set a breakpoint there, but I can't. And manip. So this one is well, we're going to do the same thing. Oh, here's what we're going to do. Here's a fancy new programming language feature. Ha, 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 ha. Entity panel, line 2203. So why are we here? It's the eternal question. So left down. We might be resetting left down for some reason. All right. Left down false. Okay, yeah, we're resetting, someone's resetting left down. We're probably just not letting ourselves set it. So much printf spam. Yeah, so this fucking scroll bar. Wait, is it always what? Oh no, I have to exit really fast. Yeah, so left down is getting cleared because we can't see events because we turned off our activeness. But left down is being used to know whether we are dragging. I probably, when I converted this code, okay, use null instead of pointer because we want, when testing, of course, if that's true, I don't know why. My theory doesn't totally hold water, but we're going to try it. I don't think this will actually fix it because of something that is bothering me right now. And we turn off Windows activity during. If this were actually true, then why did it work when I turned off everybody, right? That doesn't make sense. Hey, look. Whoa. All right. No, this is good. This is good. It's almost Miller time. All right. That was a complex system interaction. I don't know why that's not working here. Oh, this guy isn't setting his X at all. I'm going to have to do something about this my width, my height thing. Because that's just not. All right. We're getting there. That was painful. If I could have popped open the debugger on that code, that would have gone much faster, hopefully. You never know. Sometimes it doesn't, but I am happy about my collar location feature here, though. That was hot stuff. All right. So I think I got all the setting to blocks. All right. If we drag way off the window, we're outside again. All right. Yeah, we're going to do smooth panel fades today. Later, after Miller time. Okay, so now we just have this problem that we're not correct about the panel geometry at all. And it's error prone for these guys to manually update this. What happens, we have this thing called declare occlusion. I mean, I could just ask it about that. Oh, wait, we're here. Okay. Okay. Everybody declares occlusion as, you know, as they do stuff. So we were looking at left down. We'll make all these null. The 3D view pointer. I don't know. This could use some simplification, to be honest. All right, people. Instead of testing this, I just want to say, let's go to this. UI can see event. here. So this is just using an example event type. This doesn't mean that the mouse left button was actually pressed. That like checks the current cursor position, I think. I don't know. Let's just see what happens. Ah, damn it, what? What? Okay, that didn't do what I thought. It didn't do what I thought. Okay, if I need to add a new thing, UI point is occluded by panel. So, you know, there's a stack of windows, and I want to know if the current point is under any of them. Point is occluded by, and that takes a handle. Man. Not YT. This is not Snow Crash, or whatever book that was. All right. Okay, that's not exactly what I wanted. Okay, when this is not active, we don't declare occlusion. So every other frame, it works. But notice that it's got the positions exactly right. Okay, so we're going to always declare occlusion. It's just we'll have two types of occlusion. We'll have like ghostly occlusion and not. Okay, so is solid is false. So declare occlusion record.isSolid is solid. So for this, and then for this, we say if record.isSolid continue, because that's, yep, occlusion records. Yep, okay. So everyone who declares occlusion now has to be updated, which is a lot, well, 6 or 7. UV, no, let's just see what it tells me. Movement panel. Entity panel is going to have it. Oh, twice. That's a different bug. Alpha panel. Half of these panels, you don't even have a way to call them up right now. Undo panel, I can call that up for sure. and world panel. And, well, there's another one in this file, apparently. All right. Okay. No whammies, no whammies. Still doing it. Oh, because we didn't take out the, right. See, if button's active, declare occlusion. No, no, just declare occlusion, always. Could have done this the first time. All right. Here we go. No whammies, big money, big prizes. Hey, look at that. Look at that. It's working. It's working with the right geometry. Look, look, look. We don't trust the my width, my height, which, by the way, we should probably just get rid of. I don't know. Well, any questions about what happened? I think it's break time and snack run, and then we'll come back and we'll do some more good things. Like we'll make this fade smoothly. That'll be good. Do I need UI at all while I am dragging? Well, didn't I just explain that earlier in the stream? Handmade Heroes on, all right. Will I be doing compiler? Telemetry on the stream. I don't know, maybe. That could be a good thing. Anyway, so I'm going to take a break. I'll stream again a little later today. In the meantime, here's some good PUBG action again.